I've created an action plan with the weaknesses that the performer that I was watching has. The first weakness was a part of his fitness, and that was his flexibility. And then the post and pre-test that I would complete would be a sit and reach flexibility test. The timescale would be 6 weeks, and what he would be doing is doing a continuous circuit, which would be based on exercises and stretches for his flexibility. The fit and progression would be that it would last 6 weeks. For the first 3 weeks, he would do the circuit every other day starting on Monday. He'd hold the positions for the exercises and stretches for 30 seconds, and then after the 3rd week, he would do the 4th, the 5th and the 6th week. He'd hold them for 45 seconds, which is increasing the intensity and the time, and he would also have to complete a circuit every day for the next 3 weeks. It's a continuous circuit training, which means that there'd be no intervals, so no breaks in between. And the post-test would be a sit and reach flexibility test, so you could look at his first week when he did the pre-test, take his results down. Then for his post-test, you'd also take the results down and see if his flexibility is improved. The next skill that his weakness was his second serve. You could improve this by completing 20. You could give the performer 20 balls, and he'd have to hit each ball into a certain targeted area on each side of the service box, and count how many times the serve goes through. He'd have to decrease the power of his second serve, because he was going for his first and second serve really powerfully, which meant that his accuracy wasn't very good, so he wasn't getting many serves in. You could use like a speedometer on the other side of the court. And what you're aiming for is to decrease the speed by half of his first serve. And then you would complete this once every week, and then from the method type would be progressive practice, which meant that you'd take the results down for how many second serves he got in at the start of the first week, and then the 6 weeks, and see how he had improved. The weakness for his tactics was his movement into the net. So what I do is, again, progressive practice. I'd complete 20 rallies, and I'd count how many times the performer won the point after using an approach shot into the net. So I would deliberately give my performer an approach shot so he could move in and try and attack the net. The movement into the net is very important when you're playing tennis, because usually the first person to move into the net will actually win the point. The approach shot should be aggressive. You shouldn't just tap it over the net, because it's not putting your opponent under pressure. You should consider charging at the net to approach it, and when your opponent's shot lands in the service boxes, which means that you're already running into the net and you're not running back to the middle of the court just to run in again. You could improve your movement into the net by placing coloured lines on the service line and ask your opponent to move into these boxes. If they don't move into the service boxes but win the approach shot, it wouldn't count. Again, progressive practice. So at the start of the first week, it would also last 6 weeks. So at the start of the first week, you'd complete the 20 rallies and count how many you won. And then after 6 weeks, count how many he'd won using, again, 20 rallies, and then see if he's improved.